Happy Read Across America Day. Here at PS 101, we foster the love of reading. I love when a student gets caught reading at a time that they typically wouldn't be, or when a parent complains because they couldn't get their child to sleep at night because they were curled under a cover with a flashlight trying to finish their book. Or one time I had a parent say to me, "We're late this morning because I couldn't get her off of Mayan." You know, if we give our students a love for reading, we've done something right. Today for Read Across America, we decided to focus on cultural folktales. A folktale is a story that is given, usually verbally, down generations, and then eventually ends up into some written form. It teaches some kind of lesson. I want to share with you a folktale from my culture. It's about a cucaracha, a cockroach. In my culture, la cucaracha is often referred to as an insect with an endearing side, sometimes a kind person or a gentle person. We have songs about it, la cucaracha, la cucaracha. Sometimes we have stories and the main character is la cucaracha, and that's the case in this story. This is called Martina, the beautiful cockroach. Some people think this is just a story about a cockroach looking for companionship. I think it's a story that is symbolic about all relationships and what to look for in people when you're trying to find safe relationships. I actually met this author, Carmen Agraditi, and she signed the book over to my husband. Martina, the beautiful cockroach. Martina Josefina Carolina Cucaracha was a beautiful cockroach. She lived in a cozy street lamp in old Havana with her big, lovable family. Have you ever had advice from a friend or family member about how to make friends or how to look for good companionship? I know I have. Martina la cucaracha is about to get the best advice, the best counsel about looking for her soulmate. Now that Martina was 21 days old, she was ready to give her leg in marriage. The cucaracha household was crawling with excitement. Every señora in family had something to offer. Tia Cucha gave her la piña. Mama gave her a mantilla, a lace shawl, but abuela, her Cuban grandmother, she gave her incredible advice. "You want me to do what?" Martina aghast. "You are a beautiful cockroach," said abuela. "Finding a husband to choose will not be easy. Picking the right one is very tricky." But stammered Martina, how will I spill coffee on a suitor's shoes to help me find a good husband be good advice? Her grandmother smiled. "It will make him angry. Then you'll know how he'll speak to you whenever he loses his temper. Trust me, Martina, the coffee test, it never ever fails." So one thing I know is that in the Spanish culture, coffee or café con leche is a very, very huge, intricate part of our culture. And she's telling Martina, throw coffee on the suitor's shoes and see how he loses his temper. That'll let you know if he's a good suitor or not. But Martina, she just wasn't sure. Meanwhile, Papa, the parrot, he spread the word. Soon all of Havana was busy on the sidewalks outside of Morocaso. There was a buzz with the news. Martina, the beautiful cockroach, she was about to choose her husband. And as was the custom, Martina would greet her suitors from her balcony, under her family's watchful eye. Daintily, she sat down. She crossed more of her legs, and crossed more of her legs. She didn't have long to wait. Don Gallo, the rooster, he strutted up first. Martina tried to stare at his splendid shoes. This is interesting because sometimes a character in a book represents something else. A rooster. What does a rooster represent? He stands up proud, he puffs out his chest. Maybe the rooster represents a proud man. Keeping an eye on his reflection, Don Gallo greeted her with sweeping bow. Caramba, you're a really beautiful cockroach. I will look even more fabulously. You will look more fabulous on my wing. With that, he leaned forward. Martina, Josefina, Carolina, Cucaracha, the most beautiful muchacha. Would you be my wife? Martina hesitated for an instant. Coffee, senor? Right on cue, Abuela appeared. With a quick glance at her grandmother, Martina nervously splattered coffee all over the rooster's shoes. Oh my, she said in a shocked dismay. I'm all feelers today. Grrr! The rooster was furious. You clumsy cockroach! I will teach you better manners once you are my wife. Oh no, do you think Martina la Cucaracha should marry the rooster? Martina was stunned. The coffee test worked. A most humble offer, senor, she said coolly, but I cannot accept. You are much too cocky, a word for proud, for me. Then the pig. He hoofed up next. He smelled the curly little hairs on Martina's legs. What an unimaginable scent, he said. Martina wheezed. Whew, is that some kind of pig cologne? So we know pigs, they represent messy, sometimes dirty, right? Sometimes just rolling in mud kinds of animals. And so let's see what happens here. Oh no, señorita, it's the sweet smell of my pigsty. Rotten eggs, turnip peels, stinky cheese. He licked his chops and sang, Martina, Josefina, Carolina, Cucaracha, beautiful muchacha. Would you be my wife? Martina had already left in search of the coffee. She wasted no time with the pig. He squealed as he dapped his shoes. What a tragedy on my loafers. He was quite a ham, thought Martina. Calm yourself, senor. I'll clean it up for you. I say you will, he snorted. When you are my wife, there will be no end to your cleaning up after me. Martina rolled her eyes in disbelief. A most charming offer, senor, but I must decline. You are much too boorish for me. The coffee test has saved her life from yet another suitor. The pig was scarcely out of sight when Don Lizard crept over. He crept over the rail. His oily fingers brushed the little cockroach's lovely maniera. You shouldn't sneak up on me like that. I don't sneak, I creep, he said as he circled her. For some reason, this fella really bugged her. I've had enough of creeps for one day. Adios. That means goodbye. But I need you. Wait, the lizard fell on his scaly knee. Martina, Josefina, Carolina, Cucaracha, beautiful muchacha. Would you be my wife? Martina sighed. Let me see if there is any coffee left, she thought. This time, she wasn't waiting for any chances. Martina returned with 2 cups of coffee. He spat. Don Lizard was livid. He changed colors 3 times before he finally saw his true colors. And to think, he said, I was going to eat, marry you. Martina stared at the lizard. You could have heard a breadcrumb fall. Food for thought, senor, Martina said icily. But I must refuse. You are much too cold-blooded for me. When her grandmother returned to collect the day's coffee, Martina was still fuming. I'm going inside, Abuela. So soon? See, I am afraid of who I might meet next. Abuela drew Martina to the railing and pointed to the garden below. What about him? You know, this story is about Martina la cucaracha looking for a suitor, a marriage, a mate. But sometimes it's also true when we're just looking for friendships. We're looking for people that we're compatible with. And sometimes when you don't find the right friend, the right person right away, you give up easily. You say, I've already tried that. It doesn't work. This is where Martina la cucaracha is. She is just done. She's not sure if she wants to keep looking. But I think there's a lesson to be learned from here. Martina looked down at a tiny brown mouse. Think of what a mouse represents. And her cockroach, her heart began to beat faster. Tick-a-tack, tick-a-tack. Oh, Abuela, he's so adorable. Where has he been? He has been right here all along. What do I do? Go, talk to him. Just be yourself. Martina handed her Abuela her mantilla, then scurried down to the garden. The mouse was waiting. Hola, hello. His voice was like warm honey. My name is Perez. Hola, she whispered shyly. I'm Martina. The beautiful cockroach, he finished her sentence. You think I'm beautiful? The little mouse turned pink under his fur. Well, my eyes are rather weak, but I have excellent ears. I know you are strong and good, Martina, Josefina, Carolina, Cucaracha. Then he squinted sweetly. Who cares if you are beautiful? Martina! Martina! Don't forget the coffee. It's Abuela. The mouse seems adorable. Do you think she should throw the coffee on his shoes and see how he'll react before she moves forward? No, thought Martina. No coffee for Perez, Martina, Josefina, Carolina, Cucaracha. Si, Abuela. Martina knew better than to argue with her Cuban grandmother. With a heavy heart, she really didn't want to do it, guys. She reached for the cup, but Perez got there first. Quick as a mouse, he splashed Café Cubano onto Martina's shoes. Now the coffee was on the other foot. Martina was too delighted to be angry. At last she found her perfect match. He threw coffee on her feet before she could throw coffee on his. But she had to ask, how did you know? How did you know about the coffee test? Paris grinned. Well, mi amor, my love, I too have a Cuban grandmother. Martina, the beautiful cockroach, looking for a suitor. In our case, it could be a suitor or a friend. Being able to find safe people, looking for the right character and someone we're compatible with. Some great lessons. I'd love for you to talk with your family or your friends about what lessons do you learn from La Cucaracha.